Jack Track Trivia, powered by Net Performance. Now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Jack Bernicle.
Isle of Man TT edition.
I've done my homework.
I bet you. I bet there's a question. If this was mine, I'd probably have in a little question about who was the first man to win a world championship and a TT for MV Augusta.
Cecil Sandiford.
You knew.
Clearly.
Hey.
Tell you, I've done my homework.
Except his name was Cecil Sandford. He was a very lovely English chap. Well, he won the 125.
Friend of the famous Cecil Sandiford. No, I didn't know that, by the way.
He won 125 World Championship and the 125 TT on the MV Augusta in 1952. However, question one here is nothing to do with that at all. In view of the fact that you're about to abscond to the island for over a fortnight, we thought we'd test you. What is the full length of the Isle of Man TT mountain course?
37 3/4.
Very good. 37.73. So very, very good.
Yeah, but I did a couple of...
Okay.
I was pissed.
Okay.
Right? So I did a bit longer.
Who holds the current outlap record for the TT?
Peter Hickman.
At?
1:36.28.
Oh, very good. 0.358. Very close.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Question 3. In what year was the first Isle of Man TT race held?
On the mountain course or on any course? Because it started off on
any course.
On any course, 07.
Very good.
Yeah.
1907, that would be.
1907, yes, and it was on what's called the St John's course. Used some of the normal... You came at Ballacrane from the other way and turned left instead of right, and then followed what is now still the course until you got to Douglas Bend going into Cape Michael, and you turned left on at the course road, off what is now the course onto the rest of the Clips course.
Very impressive.
Good. Yes.
Very impressive, young man. Question 4. How many TT wins did the late, great Joey Dunlop achieve in total?
26.
Correct. Question 5. The iconic pub Cregney Bar is located on the mountain road section of the course. What does the name translate into? This is interesting because I never knew this, and it'll probably be quite handy for you to know as well, although it makes no sense to me.
Do you know what? It translates into, I'm taking a complete stab, that's my sheep.
And oddly enough, you're kind of not far off. It's a Rock of the Cows.
Rock of the Cows.
Why? I don't know why cows should bar, but there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Question 6. Which manufacturer has won the most TT races overall? Actually, the answer to this is more obvious than I thought, I have to say.
Got to be Honda.
Yeah, it is.
Used to be Yamaha for a long time until the mid-'80s, because Yamaha, big classes, not as many Yamaha, but because Yamaha ran 250s, 350s and won everything.
Yes.
For a lot of years, it was always Yamaha. Before that, Norton, actually. But
Michael Dunlop, of whom we mentioned previously, was the youngest rider ever to win a TT race. I didn't know that. How old was he?
It was, I'm sure it was 09. It was a super sport race, and I think he was, I'm going to say, 20.
Yes. That's.
I was stood there watching it. Sketchy conditions, and if you needed to know what a pair of nuts looks like, he had them that day. Flipping heck. He set off. Not a lot of the others didn't, and I mean people like Hutchie and John McGuinness. And fair play to them. You make your own decisions on what you think is acceptable in terms of risk. And typical at that time, Michael, and probably still would be, it's sketchy, wet, we did race in the wet anyway, but they don't, bear in mind, you can't run wets anymore because of the high speeds, and he just set off, just visor down, off he went, and just cleared off. Yeah, good win.
I think that's brilliant that you could answer all 3 segments of that so accurately. Question 8. Who was the first rider to lap even I know this. Who was the first rider to lap the TT course at over 130 miles per hour?
John McGuinness. and it was it was 07. I think it was
Very
I think it
good.
100th anniversary.
Yeah, very good. Question 9. Yeah, that's good, wasn't it? It was 100th anniversary. I didn't realise that. What was the name of the first woman to compete in a TT race for solo motorcycles in 1962?
I know.
I've never heard of this lady.
No, I won't. I'm not going to get it. Not going to get
She
it.
was called Beryl Swain.
Yeah.
Question 10. What is the name of the highest point on the TT course? And for a bonus point, how many feet stroke meters is it above sea level?
I reckon I think it's called, it's either Halewood's Height now, or they've changed the name. I think it's Brandywell.
Very good. Have you any idea of the elevation?
Not as high as you think. I reckon that's going to be about...
It's higher than Rosebery Topping on the North Yorks Moors, which is the significant profile on the North Yorks Moors.
2,000 feet.
No. Not that high. It's surprisingly low, I guess. 1,385 feet, 422 metres above sea level. Yeah. Well done, James. I didn't. You got some pretty good scores there, mate. So, James.
Yep.
I'd like to get your thoughts on the upcoming TT, because you'll be heading that way in
shortly,
a very few days' time. So, what do you reckon? What do you reckon's going to happen?
What I hope's going to happen is we get the same weather we've had certainly up north for quite a long time now. That'd be brilliant. Last year, a little bit changeable. I actually don't think it was that bad last year. I think we were coming off a really good year the year before, and I think people thought last year were bad. It wasn't. It was changeable, but they got most of the races out of the way. And in fact, Senior went off on the normal day, last Saturday of the 2 weeks. So I hope we get good weather, because that's the meeting that can be really mucked about with weather.
Yes.
As long as we get good weather, I'll be quite happy. What I think is going to happen in terms of the racing, the big three, Dean Harrison, Peter Hickman and Michael Dunlop, have now become the big four in terms of speed, because now they've been joined by David Todd. Won the senior last year, got his first TT win and his first senior TT win same week. So he's really come of age. I'm looking at his form. The only thing he can really go off in terms of what TT form is going to be is what happened at the Northwest. And they are very different circuits, although both public roads.
Yes.
They're very different in their sort of nature. If that is any guide, I think they are still going to be the big four. I think it's really interesting, because going into it on really good form, although not done much short circuit stuff, as we've said, is Michael Dunlop. I think Michael's got two really good bikes. He's on what is essentially a factory BMW in the big races. It looked really quick and really good and quite stable in the Northwest, and it's really high speed at times in the Northwest. And the BMs look really good. The 810 BMs of Todd and Hickman look really good. So Michael Dunlop's going in there on a little bit of form from the Northwest, really confident with what he now knows after the Northwest are really good bikes. Not only has he got a factory spec BMW that he seems to get on with really well, although saying that he can ride most things, he's ridden a lot of things and done well on all. But he's also got an Aruba World Championship spec V2 Supersport bike, Ducati, and that looked spectacularly good at the Northwest. Stable, he looked to enjoy riding it, and it looked quick. So he's going to be the man to beat in all those classes. I don't think he's been beaten in a Supersport race for quite a long time now at the TT. I don't know the full stats, but he's exceptionally good in the Supersport class, and he's exceptionally good in every class. So he's going to be one of them meant to beat. Hickey comes off what for most people will be the highlight of a career last year, but to him was quite lackluster in terms of his performance in TT24. He was very disappointed, although, like I said, it would have been the pinnacle of some people's racing career.
Yes.
He's really keen to make amends, and compared to last year, for whatever reason, he looks fitter, stronger, bang up for it, and on bikes that, albeit last minute, they've got them together, they look really good, and they've got factory help.
A lot of support from BMW.
A lot of support from BMW. Davy Todd, slightly different, coming in from slightly different angle. He had a cracking TT and really came of age at the TT last year. It looked brilliant. Wherever you watched, which you can't watch everybody all the time at the TT, you can get snapshots. Everywhere I saw him last year, Davy looked brilliant. So he's looking for a good TT. Dino goes in as Honda's Big Hope. The bike looks quick. It looks slightly unstable at the beginning on the longer straights at the beginning of the week at the Northwest. However, I've got a little bit of a theory here. I know I'm going off subject a little bit. The BMs have huge wings, huge. Like
yes.
The bike's this wide at the front.
Yes.
Big wing area to the maximum they're allowed, actually. But when you get wings creating downforce, you get two things. You get drag, but also you get vortices off the wings. That's why you see these white sort of circles coming out at the end of some sometimes jet airliners and all in certain weather conditions. Because you get basically air bleeds from high pressure underneath the wing to low pressure on top, and then mixes at the end, and you get these quite big vortices. They can be quite dangerous for little aircraft if you're taking off or landing directly behind a big aircraft. You've got to leave a lot of distance to let it dissipate. And I think a lot of the reason that Dean's bike looked a little bit unstable at the Northwest is he's trying to overtake a BM. It looked perfect till he got level with the BMs, and then I'm sure there's some kind of air nonsense coming out the wings. So that's my theory anyway, so we'll see. But Dino's keen. Dino's just brilliant. Attitude's fantastic. Laid back towards it all, but super keen. Really fit. He's one of them wiry kind of just born into the wrong time. He'd have made a good Victorian coal miner, would Dino, because he just gets on with the job, don't complain.
I thought you were going to say, I thought you were going to say he'd have made a great pre-war TT contestant.
He would, exactly that.
Yeah.
He would have done well at anything in the past, because he's plain speaking, says it how it is, gets on with the job,
resiliently cheerful.
And very cheerful. Yeah. John McGinnis definitely got to be in there. Everybody keeps saying, why are they still giving John a bike? Because he helps everybody else in the team. He's a great ambassador for Honda. And who are you going to put on it? Who's going to beat him? Yes, he isn't going to go and beat Hickey or Dean or Davey or Michael, but certainly nobody else that you can put on it is going to beat him. So, it's going to be an interesting TT. Like I said, it is the meeting that can be completely written off by weather. So we're hoping we get with weather. And if the crowds at the Northwest are anything to go by, I think if we do get the weather, we're going to get massive crowds at the TT.
James, thanks very much for your company.
Yeah, been great again. Cheers.
Enjoy the TT.
Thanks, man.
I hope it's a safe one, as well as a lovely
safe for
sunny
everybody.
one.
Yeah.